Hello. This is the second video in the series, what's possibly going to be a series, and I'd like to continue where I left off. I was talking about database and files. In the last few minutes that I gave you the overview of what you do on day one if you want to design a website in 10 days or so. Now, I say 10 days or so, I say that I do not give you a precise figure because it can vary depending on what you are going to do with it. And it can vary on the factors like how many hours you can work and how much time you spend on certain parts of it and other things like that. So I wouldn't give you a pinpoint number, sort of a range. And it doesn't matter 10 days, 100 days. What matters is what you're doing. So, with that, let's get started. Overview, day one. You want to take stock and you want to think about what your website is going to look like when you finally have someone sitting at a computer or on a mobile device. It can be anything. And for mobile devices, it's a whole lot of work. You can spend time writing specifically for mobile devices, and I am focusing on writing a website from the back end to the front end. Back and front end, I've not added to the vocabulary. So the back end. So you're looking at Python, Java, or JS, using Node.js server, backend, and you have PHP, the kind of default, temporal default. That's what was used previously. They are not using these things these days, I guess. But a lot of the web is powered by PHP and Ruby on Rails, and I can go on, I guess. There are other options as well. Front end, front end. You're looking at JavaScript. You're looking at TypeScript. You're looking at Go. That's from Google, I guess, and maybe other possibilities I am not aware of, but it'll take me a search to give you a list. Doesn't matter. Okay. Backend and frontend. The idea is that you're looking at the computer that hosts your website, to use precise vocabulary, and you're looking at a computer that shows you the page, the web page at a given time. So there's a block called backend, there's a block called frontend. Okay, so backend is your server, hosted software, to use the most generic word. So this will have a stack of software programs, whatever you want to call them, interacting with each other. So compare this with OSI layered model. The word here is layered model. Okay, front end. What happens on the browser? It can be CLI based, which no one uses, I guess, which is not this is about. It can be UI based, which is what this is about. CLI based would be for programmers, developers, professionals working these things, and hackers and other sorts of professionals, I guess. So um, GUI based kids these days, not animals again. Animals don't still use these things, thankfully. So kids, and from kids to the oldest person on earth. I guess that's how pervasive entity. Which one should I use? Because the names are taken, right? So entities would want to be. Yeah, you get the point. Yeah, would want to be. Okay, I'm not concerned about that part at the moment. So blocks. I was talking about blocks, and I've given you lots of things in the name of blocks. I've used the concept flexibly, and I've not come up with a block diagram. The idea is that you don't want to be wasting time coming up with a pretty block diagram that you draw yourself. The idea is that you use something like NetworkX and GraphViz, Python, Linux maybe. This lets you programmatically draw block diagrams, graphs, or whatever it is. So this is what you do. We'll get into this. This is the nitty-gritty. Again, I'm going through day one overview, right? And you don't have to think about, okay, what is this? I have no idea, and this is new for me, and I don't think I would be able to deal with it. No, it doesn't matter. And when it's new, it's new for everyone. It's not just your subjectivity. Subjectively, I don't want to get into subjectivity, but that is the idea. Okay, so this will automate. This will automatically create graphs for you, so you don't want to worry about. You don't want to worry about um, coming up with a block diagram using Figma or whatever it is. So Figma is one of the UX UI tools, if you know about this, because I'm sharing only two in those. That's a WordPad kind of program, and that's LibreOffice, by the way, and another one, the browser window that I'm using, right? So you've got block diagrams using Figma, maybe, or Canva. It doesn't matter, right? Flow diagram, all sorts of diagrams there are, and you don't want to be spending time using graphical user interface to come up with these things, beautiful things as they are. Point being, you can use, of course, artificial intelligence and everything. I don't know what's the point of all of this if you can use artificial intelligence and come up with these things on your own by just writing sentences. But if you wanted to do it on your own, that is the way to go about. And I have mentioned this. Okay, sorry. I've mentioned this thing about block diagrams being generated by programs like NetworkX, on which GraphViz is based, because I wanted to talk about XML. Now, I have talked about RDF before, and XML, RDF, and block diagrams, or these libraries, GraphViz, NetworkX, they are all related. You want to come up with a certain representation of data, and these libraries, NetworkX and GraphViz, will let you do those things programmatically. You want to be able to do anything and everything programmatically when you're working with computers. Purpose, I'll add that. Okay. purpose. You want to be able to do anything and everything programmatically. So this includes use cases range from generating HTML, that's your homework. Look out for search to generating exploratory data analysis, EDA reports, among other things, among many other things. Of course, we've already discussed. Of course, we've already discussed network S. I've already broached the topic. Had a cursory look at network X. We haven't actually, but yeah, I've already mentioned network XN. You insert the language, okay? We've done something, and network XN graph is okay. It's not just Python. You will find these in other places as well. Basically, that lets me talk about Linux. So that brings me to a very, very important part of all of this. So server, what's your server gonna be? Now, this probably is the more important bit because you want to be thinking about what your machine is going to do with HTTP requests, which you will be serving, which is what a website does, and what your machine must be protected against, and how easy it is to set up your machine, how easy or otherwise it is to maintain it, how much support you have, and how fast you can work on it, and things like that. Lots of things. You're looking at compute power, computational efficiency. It's a lot of technical details that we need not go into, and examples of which start from number of cores on the virtual machine that you're going to go for on a given platform. It can be any platform. It can be Linode, Docker instances, DigitalOcean, GoDaddy. So many options available there that you find it quite a feat to decide which one to use. You would go for things which let you do the thing easily in a short amount of time, but it looks like it's short, it looks like it's easy. Ultimately, it comes down to what you decide and what you end up with. So, one way is to actually do this 10-day website design activity with four different options. So, with Linode, with Docker, with DigitalOcean, whatever it is, with AWS, Google Compute Platform. I don't know what else. So many options there, right? So GoDaddy cPanel is what it provides. WordPress, yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is you could choose any one of them. I wouldn't endorse one or more. The point I'm trying to make is that the basics are the same. So this is some big claim I'm making. So I'll just clarify things a bit and kind of defend myself. Okay, so the idea is that you will have a server in Linux or server Linux OS or Windows OS. Most common ones on options. Windows Windows can be trickier in terms of how much you know about it already about the internals. Windows is closed source and things like that. So you wouldn't want to kind of maybe there is there is there are additional costs involved. So that is a good reason you might not choose this over Linux. Linux, you have it as the better choice, if you ask me. Because it's customizable. It's customizable to the last detail. So I don't want this particular bit. I just throw it out. That's all. Okay, I want to see what's going on in this box. I can see it inside the box, and I can edit the kernel, right? So that kind of thing. That's why you want to choose. I mean, people who know anything about these things will appreciate what I'm trying to say. For others, it might be uh, well, news that never comes, kind of thing. So, getting back to this server software, it's Linux that you would want to go for, and stack, I've already told you HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and that is what you need anyway. With TypeScript, you will be using a modified, an advanced version of, let's call it an advanced version of JavaScript, something like that. And then you have with any vendor, with any vendor, this is going to be the process. Write a website. So the website looks like this. Let's say doc type, HTML, whatever it is, HTML, close the tag. So where does it start? Where does it end? That's all there is to it. So an HTML comment is, I think, okay, this one. This is start marker. There's the an end marker. There are tags which don't need an end marker, but there are relatively few. So you can actually, I mean, verify this. Everything I say, you can simply verify this. Okay. HTML tags that don't need closing. Unpaired tags don't have to be closed, button and image are two examples. Okay, button and image are two examples. I don't want to spend any more time on this. So div, it's one of the most common elements used here. So div section, maybe section heading 3. This is my introduction to the website. Okay, so that kind of thing. You just save this, copy, okay, and you just save it as an HTML file. So I'll open Notepad. You can't see that, but you'll see it up as HTML in a moment. Okay, so you just save it as an HTML file. You call it any name you want. I'll call it my HTML. I'm not giving you the naming conventions I use, so sorry for being so opaque. Yeah, I can use that. So I should be able to show you my HTML file. I've saved it on my desktop. Yeah. Here it is. I hope you can see this window as well. I have another window open of the same browser, but I'll open it on both of them. Yeah, well, this is supposed to work. Sorry about this. The point is that you will see what you write here as HTML. Yep, it doesn't let me drag and drop. So coming back to what I was saying, you write some HTML, it'll show up as this is my introduction to the website. Okay, so the point is, again, I can show you here. You go to this, you go to the web page, you go to any web page, you open the source. Control U is the shortcut on this web browser. It doesn't matter. You just right click and you say developer tools, view page source. Control U is the shortcut as it says there. Okay, doc type HTML, language English, and you will have all these listed. You can find it on the internet. It's not worth spending time on. Head tag contains particular information about the page. For example, what style sheets it's got, CSS, what JavaScript it has got, where it is coming from, and so on. So I have linked four style sheets, and there may be other resources that you can look at. Okay, so just explore any website. You can explore this website. You can explore any website you like. So icon files and title, as you can see, the head contains title is outside of the head, but there is standard practice. There is conventions, and you want to be able to go through those things and follow them. You should follow them. Okay, it's good to follow standard practice because that helps others if you want to be part of that environment. So body, as you can see, there is a navigation bar, and there is quotation box, code box. I've named it code box. You can name it whatever you want. You can name it Alice in Wonderland. Doesn't matter. And you have links to question papers actually. So links to question papers, right? Now this is a relative path. This is what's called a relative path. So okay, of all the links, which one do I choose? I choose Tempest. So HTML, that is a link. That's a relative path. relative path. Okay, so that is what you're going to do with HTML. With CSS, you're going to be decorating your HTML. With JavaScript, you're going to be adding functionality. So user wants data fetch from this table. User clicks this button, and the data is fetched without refreshing the page. Why would you want not refreshing the page? You would want not refreshing the page because HTML is sorry, HTTP is stateless for stateless protocol. HTTP. Find it on Mozilla Developer Network and you're good to go, kind of. Okay, again, I'm not concerned about use of language in a particular way. I'm concerned about information transfer, maximum information transfer, if that's what I can do in a given block of time. So stateless protocol is a communication protocol. This is Wikipedia. I've it in front of you because I think I opened it and it didn't work on the in the last video. It doesn't matter. Video editing is not my thing. So whatever it is live. Okay. So receiver must not retain session state, and that's why we need sessions for. So that brings me to sessions. Stateless protocol. Stateless protocol. From the fact that HTTP is a stateless protocol. Then you have something new coming up, session. So you have cookies, right? Cookie, two cookies, essential, cookies, optional. You know GDPR. Read about GDPR violations, for example. Okay, and misuse is no reason for not using something. I guess that's what the alibi would be. But sessions is login management. Basically, sessions are used for login management. What is login management? I'll call it login management. Okay. MGMT is standard abbreviation for management standard, or the common sense standard, if that's how they would want to posit it in research, state of the art research. So the stateless protocol is a communication protocol in which the receiver must not retain session state from previous requests. So the idea is that I don't know who you are in a given HTTP request. It's as good as someone new to me. It's always the case that the client and server are strangers. They will communicate in that session and that's it. And next one, new session, everything set to unknown, that kind of thing. The sender transfers relevant session state to the receiver in such a way that every request can be understood in isolation. That's what I said, and that's what I just said, right? That is without reference to the session state from previous requests retained by the receiver. In contrast, a stateful protocol is a communication protocol in which this receiver may retain state from previous requests. In computer networks, for examples of stateless protocols include Internet Protocol, which is the foundation for the Internet, and the Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is the foundation for World Wide Web. Examples of stateful protocols include TCP and FTP. So that is why, for example, FTP and TCP might need to be protected. And that's what I guess would be the case. I'm making a wild guess, okay? But yes, security concerns are there with FTP, for example. So if it's a curiosity, I could search about it. So FTP and security, key vulnerabilities. You could just ease. Okay, I don't want to type. I don't like typing. Yeah. So see, effective penetration testing. Security overview. Worried about FTP security risk? Is FTP secure? Detailed local file in this company. Okay, great. Okay, great. This is your Windows Server IIS. Okay, I don't know what IIS stands for. Please don't. Please spare me there. So, FTP server is insecure. FTP server, SSH communication security. An FTP server is insecure. That's what they are giving us. That's a bold thing to say. They transmit passwords and data in a clear. SSH. Okay, it's a clear text password sharing, I guess. So you have your password as I'm Alice in Wonderland, and it shows as Alice in Wonderland on your screen, not as dots, black dots that you enter in password fields, right? That kind of thing. So definitely, it is evidence that FTP is not very secure, which is what this statement points to. So you could find out more about this, but that is the area. So this occurred to me. I searched it. That's all there is to it. If something occurs to you, search it, but ensure you get back to where you were, which can be well, yeah, process, inter-process, communication, thread, threading. We'll discuss this later. So coming back to the original thread you started or process you started, that kind of thing. This is again the internals of operating systems and things like that. And I was here. Any vendor, the process is going to be write a website or write static content, write dynamic applications, Python files, import spacey dot load n core web lgtrf, whichever it is. sm is the one you want if you want to be lightweight, if you want it to be lightweight. Okay, and this is your this is something that lets you tokenize documents and work with text, that kind of thing. So you don't need to worry about what it is. Again, it's a good idea to read all of that, but if you want to write a website from the back end to the front end, well, yeah, you know that you have many other things to look at. So NLP, I make a doc. That's the convention that they use on the Spacey website. NLP. This is a sentence. This will give you dot tokens, which will be a generator, I guess, iterator. You know this if you know Python. If you don't know Python, we'll go through it. It's not a big deal. Python is the easiest programming language to learn. Okay, so what do you do with iterators? What you do with them is, yeah. So you can't print it like that in scripts. That's why I'm putting it as a comment. So token for token in docs, you'll have things called tokens, defined as tokens. Whatever they are defined on the Spacey documentation, and you can find out about them. Okay, so let's say token dot pos part of speech for token and dot tokens, which is an iterator. My POS, I'll call it anything. Okay, so that is your demo Spacey. Okay, better use a code editor. Return my POS, right? So I'll make a function call. Function call is does Spacey print. Now this is on my machine. This is on my prints on the CLI interface. Okay, what is CLI interface? We'll talk about it. So, prints on the CLI interface or to a log. We'll talk about it later. What is a log? You know what a log is, right? Log is not something that you don't know about, and it's the same. It's metaphorical usage. It's transfer knowledge and transfer learning, whatever you want to call it. And I've been making reels on Instagram. I would refer you to them, and I would invite you to just look it up on the internet. It doesn't matter how to print to log, for example, right? Now, this is for your local environment. You are doing it on your computer, on your server, or on your client, whatever it is. You want to be doing this on a website by return request demo spacey HTML page HTML NLP demo. Okay, should call it high level NLP demo because I have not started from scratch. High level NLP demo is what it's going to be, and there is usually a context dictionary that you want to pass. And you want to say secret revealed. I don't know. Wingardium Leviosa. So, yeah, you will have my function, my function for root x. Takes a request. Request is your HTTP request. So, HTTP request from the client request returns a response. Input. See block diagrams again, all the way. Block diagrams all the way. So, output HTTP response, which is what this statement does, return render, which is what the function render does. Okay, returns an HTTP response. So hocus pocus here will be demo spacey. In the context, I can write apart from yeah. So that is the message I wanted to say. So secret revealed, and in fact it was supposed to be this. It's a dictionary, Python dictionary. So okay, I don't like this bit. No one does, I guess. Yeah. So you have my POS. So it's just a label, and I want to be able to access this data. So I can say, for example, JSONify, something like that, might have a function that says JSONify. It's a hypothetical case I'm giving you. I can't recall the name of the function, but there is functionality for this. So you write a JSON object and label it my POS to send to the server. So you are doing demo spacey, the output of demo spacey, which is my POS, going here, my POS. Okay. So doing it on your own machine, which is print, and doing it on the server, which is render request. Write dynamic applications. That was this, and this was that. Whatever, whichever way you fancy. This. Okay, so write dynamic applications. Write static content, HTML files. Write dynamic applications. This Python script, for example, deploy on a server. That's all there is to it. Only three steps, actually. Yeah, it's too oversimplified, I guess. But deploy on server is the third step. So that's going to be common to every vendor. You have Lenovo, you have DigitalOcean, Docker, GoDaddy, WordPress. I don't have any other names on mind at the moment, but yeah, AWS, Google Compute Platform, and other entities that you can look up. I'm not going to endorse any one of them, but that is the idea. If you are looking for suggestions, maybe in later videos we'll discuss them. Deploy on a server. So choose a machine with hardware details decided on. Number of cores, and things like memory, primary memory and secondary memory. Primary memory is RAM, secondary memory is disk space, and things like that. Lots of it. Okay, no need to go into this at the moment. So, for example, you want a big machine for a very big website, or for a very big content delivery network, that kind of thing. Depends. There are lots of types of servers you can choose from. So depending on what you're trying to achieve. Here we are looking at a very lightweight website, so we don't need to think about these things too much. Choose an operating system. Linux is what I've discussed. Which Linux? It could be Ubuntu, Debian, it could be anything. It doesn't matter. But there are differences, and you need to be aware of those differences in order to be able to actually make the thing work. Install Python development tools, GCC, things like that, compilation requirements, etc. If depending on what the details are. Install your application. In part 2 above, static files, you don't have to static files do not need installation. Okay, start serving static and dynamic content. Static files, a story you wrote in 2001. I did not write a story in 2001. Don't try to be a detective. Okay, it's a humble request. So dynamic files, weather data. This is interesting stuff. This is much more interesting than a story, maybe. Weather data. You have geospatial data, geospatial data, satellite data. What else? What other sources are there for? So you could explore all sorts of sources of. I'm saying sources of data. I'm not talking about databases and not talking about aggregators or databases and things like that. That is different. Source of data. Okay. So maybe taxonomy, gene data. Of course, there is gene data, genetics, and biological, other biological data. Like, for example, I worked on this. So ALLIDB. Okay, things like that. Lots of it. Okay. So that's it for this one. I'll continue talking about it in another video. To summarize, you have three steps for every vendor. These vendors are Linode, Docker, DigitalOcean, AWS, GCP. Linode is actually these days it's Akamai. So just Akamai, Linode was acquired by Akamai, and WordPress, and so many things. What you're going to be doing is WordPress may or may not give you this option. Depends on what the environment is. Some will give you things ready-made. Others will let you customize as much as you want. Let you do everything on your own. Depends on your willingness as well. How much you want to do, your determination as well. But and basically how stubborn you are, how resistant you are to failures, kind of. That is the idea, because errors, there are about fixing stuff that doesn't work and fixing stuff that is more stubborn than you are. So that is the idea. And I would discuss a few options maybe later, but it's up to you ultimately, and I'm not endorsing anything. But deploy on a server is three steps. You have get the content. It can be anywhere. It can be a news agency. It doesn't matter. It's a data dump. The data dumped data analysis. Okay, it's a data dump. Get stuff. Get data. Get content. Okay. That's step number one. Formatted HTML is just formatting, just WordPad, Notepad, that kind of thing. Write dynamic applications. So do the moving around, logistics, and other functions that you cannot work without. So who does the managing of all of this content that you have? It's the dynamic applications, Python applications, or any other programming language in which you write. So it can be Java applications, ASP, right? ASP, you might have come across this when visiting websites and so on. Then deploy your application on a server. Now, some of this might be easier for you than other parts, but this is the workflow, as they'll have me call it. And this is what you're supposed to do. Three steps for all the vendors you can think of. Three steps. Okay, that's all there is to it. Don't make a mountain of a molehill. That is the takeaway for this one. Thank you. See you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.